Team 17 is in hot water for their NFT kerfuffle. Halo fans get treated to some existing skins and some matchmaking updates, and Matt finally gets a Nintendo Switch. All of this and more on the Campfire Gaming Podcast. Hello and welcome to another Campfire Gaming Podcast. My name is Rich and I will be your host for the evening. With me, as always, the dedicated Matt. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Excited to talk about games tonight. A lot of good stuff.
We got lots of good stuff tonight. There's lots to talk about. Before we get into it, though, I say if you are a new listener or an existing listener, you should be checking out our website, campfiregamingpodcast.com. There you can find links to all of our socials, including Twitter at CampGamePod, as well as some previous episodes if you feel like listening to those there. You will also find our Discord, which we very much encourage you to come and hang out with us, chat with us, game with us, all that good stuff. We'd love to hear from you. So with that, let's just kick it off and go right into the good stuff. So we have to start for the night some more Halo stuff to talk about because we can't keep ourselves from not talking about Halo. Not that isn't exciting, but there's always stuff to talk about with Halo currently as they are kind of running into some, I guess you could say some hot water in this one.
Trying to put out fires.
They're trying, yes, they are very, very adamantly trying to put out the fires while also creating new ones at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean by that is that over the weekend we have a small, kind of a small controversy that kind of irked some players. So with the armor coatings, they were releasing a armor coating to go along with the Halo esports event that just happened this weekend, the HCS in Anaheim, which was actually honestly pretty good. I watched a little bit of that. I don't know if you watched any of the Halo esports this past weekend.
No, I haven't.
That's fine. Well, one of the things that you could get with watching that event is during the Twitch drop, or they had Twitch drops enabled to where you would get the Watchdog armor coating. Well, looks very similar to the Watchdog armor coating. Why is this a problem? Well, this is the same armor coating, very similar armor coating to what you get for reaching SR 152 in Halo 5. So if you spent all the time, or I think somebody calculated out somewhere between 1,500 and 1,600 hours in Halo Infinite or Halo 5 to reach SR 152, you were given this armor, or you could just watch the HCS event that happened this past weekend and you get something that is damn near identical.
It's called the HCS Winter Coating.
The HCS Winter.
Or armor coating.
Yep.
So.
Yep. It's got a nice color palette of white, black, and red. They look pretty similar. There's been some pretty funny YouTube videos that are kind of showing off what these skins look like and how similar they actually are. So it's definitely got the crowd up in arms, because why the hell did I need to spend 1,600 hours playing, Halo 5 when you basically just gave it away for just watching, I think it was like 2 hours or something like that of HCS over the weekend, something like that. I think that's a much easier way of getting that skin.
Yeah, it was. I know this wasn't like a huge thing, and I'm sure a large part of the community didn't participate in it, but I remember towards I think it was early last year, we all knew Infinite was coming, and they put out this thing on Halo 5 where if you completed and got to SR 152 or were already SR 152, that you would get this Watchdog armor coating. You would earn an Watchdog armor coating, which is unlocked in Halo Infinite, right?
Right.
And I mean, I'd say right from the start, it was kind of disappointing as they finally got it into the game, because the armor coating wasn't that exciting if you look at it from what they first advertised like a year ago. And definitely it changed by the time what you got it in Halo Infinite. And then it's got to even more piss people off for the fact that, like you said, all I had to do was watch esports for 2 hours, and I could have got something very, very very similar to it. There's this very subtle difference. It's just like kind of a very light gray and kind of like a off white or a grayish white. Really, is like kind of the only difference, is what I could tell. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure there's some eagle eyed people that are picking out more details, but I looked at them like, yay, like good thing. I feel bad for people that spent 1,600 hours,
Mm-hmm.
in this game. Is this what they got? So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, like this coding also, I don't remember if does the Watchdog coding have that like that blue highlight to it? Because there's a couple like there's some blue in there too. But yes, it does look largely the same.
mhm.
And it was a total of 3 hours. So after watching 1 hour, you get the assault rifle. 2 hours, you get the pistol, and then 3 hours, you get the battle rifle. And then I think there's probably some other stuff too. I didn't get all of it. I'd only watched for like an hour or two.
Mhm.
But the matches were pretty good. The ones that I did watch. I mean, that's one thing that I always like about. One thing that I've always loved about Halo is that watching the esports is always really, really fun. And that's something that's been pretty consistent. I mean, even through the Halos, I didn't even play that much.
Yeah.
Watching Halo is always, a very, very enjoyable. Watching high level Halo, I should say, is really, really enjoyable.
I think the only real Halo esports I ever watched was Halo CE, and that was back in a time where I think it was probably aired on something like G4 TV. So I think I just watched some replays on. I can't even say YouTube because I don't think YouTube was a thing then. But I think that was the last time I really watched any significant amount of esports with Halo. So
Oh yeah, I loved watching like back in the MLG days, watching Halo 2, Halo 3.
mhm.
MLG in kind of its prime. Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah.
So in other Halo news, I mean, like we said, they're trying to put out fires. One of the big fires that people have been kind of, wanting addressed right away is there's problems with lag, desync. People mention things like getting killed around corners, and I mean, I still play from time to time, and yeah, I mean, I run into all these issues. The getting killed around corners thing, I don't think that is a new thing. Like
Mhm.
that's not new. That's always like that's been in online gaming for long time, ever
Yeah.
since like you could online game. I mean, really what that is that's latency between server and client. And when you favor they addressed this a little bit. They went into like an extremely technical explanation as to how like the desyncing and the matchmaking kind of works, and what their solutions are, or what their proposed solutions are to kind of fix some of this stuff. They had like little, like what looked like a little like it looked like someone was drawing on like one of those like football screens where they had like the
Yeah.
circles and the arrows going different ways, and like yeah, it looked kind of like that, where
Yeah.
they had like explaining
Kind of
things
what's
that,
happening.
yeah, they were explaining concepts of what happens in online multiplayer games. But with that, they are trying to reduce. They put out a patch, I think, earlier in the week, or late last week, I think, and they were trying to address some of the ping issues. Um, and unfortunately, they actually caused some problems with that as well. So what they
Mhm.
did is now, when you are getting matched in matchmaking, it's going to try and favor, I think, regions and low ping, basically getting those people together so that you have the lowest ping possible. I do notice that, yeah, like I do get more like 18 millisecond, 20 millisecond pings
Mhm.
a lot more consistently than, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like a couple weeks ago I was playing a couple of different games where I had well over 200 ping on some of those servers, and I was just like, where am I connecting to? Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what server I'm on anymore.
Australia.
Right. um But yeah, so what this ended up doing, though, is this ended up causing some problems with the matchmaking in general. And this is a problem that I've had with them. I've experienced as well, is that you can get matched with people that are way either above or below where you sit. So I mean, you're getting, they don't have any upper and lower bounds as to what players you can get matched with in this matchmaking, or at least that's what it
Mhm.
seems like. So you have people who are, silver and gold playing with diamond and onyx, and even like high level onyx players. I think one of the funny stats that somebody brought to my attention was like there was a Halo Pro who was playing just after this patch. And over the course of like a few games, he racked up like 130 something kills and like 13 deaths out of like
Yeah.
5 games or something like that. Just an absolutely insane number of kills, mainly because he was playing against like silver and gold level players, which is like, that's not fun for anybody. And I think that what that really ends up doing is screwing with the it ends up screwing with the matchmaking rating, so that if you were to for some reason win or lose those matches, I mean, it really throws your MMR kind of out of whack. So
Yeah.
yeah, apparently a lot more people, this is happening a lot more now than it used to.
It's I can speak as I've had experiences in other games where you usually, if you hop into a multiplayer game that's um towards like the end of its popularity. I remember this is years back. I absolutely love playing Bad Company 2.
Right.
A couple years went by. I think Battlefield, 3 or something. A couple other, one or two more games came out. So
Sure.
it was just like me and a buddy were like, hey, let's jump back in. We'll give it a try. The only problem is it's all the the tryhards, and so
So like
there's
that's what's
me.
left.
That's what's
Yeah.
left. So it's
Yeah, the
like
diehards.
me and maybe
Yeah.
like me and my buddy, we're going in against these people that were just so much higher ranked, and it's like it's just not fun having that spread. I remember doing it too in recently played a little bit of Halo 5 multiplayer, and it was just like just playing against people that were ranked so much higher. And again, you hop in one game, it's like, oh, I'm doing pretty good, knocking off all the rust and getting back into the swing of things. And then and the next thing you know, I get matched in a game where I'm just getting my ass handed to me because I'm sure the player base on Halo 5 is a little bit bigger than Bad Company at the time, but it's just not a fun experience that, and I'm someone that's played before. I imagine people hopping in here, this game's still pretty new. So you're getting newer people in here, maybe just getting into the swing of things, and they're getting their asses handed to them. And they're like,
Yeah. This isn't my thing.
yeah.
No, I mean, and who could blame him, right? Like, if you're going to get spanked by an Onyx level player, I mean, what is the point of even having any ranked based matchmaking
Mm-hmm.
period, right? And then
Yeah.
at that point, it's literally just a number that doesn't really mean anything if you can get matched with anybody. And then if it's not going to match you fairly, even, you might as well just have dedicated servers again, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
A nice server browser, and then you can just go and dunk on people.
Yeah. Just overall with this they put out this big blog that you mentioned, addressing the desync issues and a lot of
Yeah.
they kind of separate it into two different things: desync and then kind of like connection issues. I'll say things like being killed around corners, melee's missing,
Yep.
shots missing, things like that. And I was reading through it, and it was just nothing in it convinced me that they knew what was going on and they had a good solution to it. You're right. We've had plenty of games over the years where this is something in online gaming.
Yeah.
But
when you're playing with ping, like stuff like this is like, it's
Yeah.
so hard to get around that when the ping is going to be a factor.
But this is happening so frequently.
Mhm.
With to me, like, again, I guess I don't know where everybody lives, that I match with, but like I just think back of like why is this a problem in the first place? I can understand in the first few months, maybe you're kind of figuring things out, maybe there's some bugs there because you got to adjust to scale, when you launch a game. But this isn't some first time studio this is their first multiplayer and they're just trying to figure things out. This is a studio that's released multiple multiplayer games, of a franchise that has been traditionally built in, has had online multiplayer since 2004. Again, you're never going to get rid of all of your networking issues, but it's just, these all seem to be short-term, quick solutions that they will hope solve their issues until they can find the root causes. Kind of how I've read the article.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, like, I do think that a lot of these problems are still pretty hard to fix. Maybe they can kind of adjust some things with what I don't know. I mean, like I said, I think even in a lot of modern games, you're going to have a lot of stuff like this where, you're going to get killed around corners, and it's exacerbated by having higher ping. So I do think that, I do think that matching you with people in closer regions is a good step.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to get that ping as low as humanly possible is awesome because I mean, yeah, even in Halo 3 days, me getting matched with somebody even who was on like the West Coast was pretty bad,
Yeah.
especially if this, if the host was on the West Coast. Like it was pretty awful it was an awful experience for me because you would have things where like you felt like shots weren't registering, you were getting killed around corners,
Mm-hmm.
you would get back in that time you'd get blood shots all the time, so if you were sniping and you would just you would see it connect but it wouldn't actually register, you'd have bad registration.
Yeah.
That's such a hard problem to solve, I think. But they do have the thing that I don't quite understand is the desyncing. So the desyncing is kind of, I think that's a bit more of its own problem that they're going to need to, that's where they're going to really need to figure out what the causes to those problems
Mm-hmm.
are. And that's going to be a really big issue that they're going to need to tackle, because that, I don't know what to say about that one. I mean, I can't defend that one. If you have desyncing problems, that's, that's going to be a bad game experience, and that doesn't necessarily mean that lag is going to be the factor in there. It means
Yeah.
that, yeah, like you're just not going to see where you and the server are on two different wavelengths there, like,
Yep.
and they, that one is going to be an interesting one for them to tackle, but I hope that they get to that one pretty soon, because that one's not fun to deal with either.
Yeah. I don't know. It's frustrating. I know that was a big reason I kind of slowed down playing amongst many other, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just the wide variety of games you'd have. One game you're just some games you feel like a god. I'm just like running over people. I'm just flinging lead downrange, and somehow I'm connecting. I still remember I kind of jumped, did a 180, pulled my sniper out and shot, and I hit a dude in the head. But if you look, I was like a foot above his head,
Yeah.
then I played the next game, and you couldn't kill anybody to save my life,
Right.
and it's not a good experience in my opinion. I hope they fix the issues because we've talked
Yeah.
about it before.
We want
It's
to
a
keep
fun
playing.
multiplayer.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
want to keep playing it, and it would be great to, to continue playing Halo, but I think this and content are some of the biggest
Yep.
problems that people are having with the game right now, is that people
Hmm.
are either getting kind of bored because they don't really want to just play Team Slayer or Oddball 30,000 times, and they only have 3 big team battle maps that look pretty close to the same thing. So
Yeah.
it's like it would be kind of nice to get some more content out of there. Supposedly there's a leak going around that has some stuff to do with Forge, so
Yep.
if that's true, I don't, I would love to see more about that. That'd be kind of fun to talk about and see if we
Yep.
can get some like community made content, because that, like, that's something that I've always preached, right? Like I've talked about it on this show so many times about how having community content is what really is going to provide longevity to your game. Like after the developers stop caring about putting content out for the game, you let the community take it over, they'll figure out that problem for you.
Yeah. No, and I think we chatted about this before when it was announced that it was getting delayed. That we thought that was going to be a big problem, and here we are. And not having Forge in there to build this community content. The only fear I have is that they do another Halo 5 thing where they realize that there's not a lot of variety in maps, or in the case of Halo 5, there was no BTB, and
Mm-hmm.
they use Forge maps to fill in the playlists. Which, look, I love
And
that
they
the
look,
community
yeah,
creates this stuff, but I don't want to be playing these blocky maps and all that junk. Like that was like I played one or two of those the other week when I went back to and played a couple games of Halo 5. I'm like, okay, the maps are interesting, but this is boring as shit and they look gross, But
that was a big problem in Halo Reach, I remember.
yeah,
Yeah.
one of the I did you read into any of the leaks for the Forge stuff? I didn't see anything specific, just kind of some leaked screenshots and
That's
stuff.
all I've
Like,
yeah, that's all that I've
yeah,
seen so
okay.
far.
Uh, cannot confirm or deny this, but I do want to point out something really cool. If those pictures are real, is the ability to potentially maybe change the kind of, I'll say, biome of a
Yeah.
map.
Yep. I saw
Um,
some like snowy
I,
screenshots.
yeah, there was snowy screenshots. I forget the map name. It was the larger outdoor big team battle map. Can't remember the name of it, but yeah, it was an
From
outdoor
which
one
Halo?
from Halo Infinite.
Oh, from Halo. Okay.
Yeah, but the Forge, it looked like like you said, they were able to put some snow. They were able to switch it to like a snowy environment, and then switching to Bazaar. They had a screenshot of it at night, which I think is really cool. I think I've always thought that would be a cool idea in games if you could kind of build a map, but have it where when you in matchmaking, when it loads that map, that it could switch between night and day, maybe different
Oh
weather or
yeah.
biomes or something like that.
Yeah, that would be kind of
Um,
cool.
where I think it'd be the same map, but it could affect how you play it. So, be cool to see if these are actual features in Forge, how the community will use them, and how it'll play. Because
Yeah.
yeah, I mean that's switching games here, but there's supposed to be some night modes coming to Hell Let Loose, and I'm excited because that's
Oh
gonna be
yeah, that's
scary
true.
as shit.
That's gonna be fun. You're gonna be
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna stake out with my machine gun just sitting in the grass at night. That's gonna be
Just
amazing.
yeah, I think it's gonna be great because you'll have flares. It sounded like you'll probably need to use proximity audio to hear footsteps or things like that. And then next thing you know, you'll be like sneaking through some of those wheat fields or whatever, grass fields, and next thing you know, flare goes up, and you're just imagine you face to face with like some enemy, and you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, right.
So like I could imagine
That would
some
be
cool
cool.
experiences like that in
Yeah.
other games, or in this case, maybe Halo, if that those features are there in real. So
Oh yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm still excited to see Forge because what I really want to see made in Forge for Halo Infinite is I want to see a low cooldown, unlimited grapple shot, like don't touch the ground kind of a game mode where you have to
yeah,
swing around like an obstacle course and
the map is lava.
yeah, right. It'd be like a surf map from Counter-Strike but Halo edition, and you would use like Spider-Man technology to
Yeah,
get through the map. That'd be so cool.
shotguns and no shields, shotguns and swords only.
Yep. Yep. Oh man. So, yeah, I mean, the desync and all that, it's kind of its own beast.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they can fix a lot of these issues. One of the issues they're not going to be able to fix is the Halo TV series. So once that's out, it's out. There's no
Yep.
patching that one.
I want to be excited, but that trailer from the other week has got me so mixed, along with some of the story, some liberties they've taken with the story. We get it. I forget what's it called, the Silver Timeline. It gets a little different, but I don't know. Some of the stuff they've
Right. Yeah, and
changed there.
it kind of makes you wonder, like, if like depending on how many creative liberties you're taking, like why is it even a Halo thing?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah,
I think the biggest thing that bugs me is a human working with the Covenant in those early stages. I don't know. So apparently somewhere in the lore that's okay now, but like, old me is like, I've read all the books and I played all the games. The Covenant, they don't like humans.
yeah, they wouldn't want to work
No,
with humans.
yeah, you're vermin. You're scum. So, but on that news, it's not even out already, and it got renewed for season 2. So,
Wow.
that news just dropped today.
So Paramount thinks it's very good.
Yeah,
They must think that it's very good.
I've not watched anything on Paramount, but I have not heard. I've heard not great things about what they've done with Star Treks, and I love Trek.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it's very dependent on how you feel about Star Trek. What is the new one? Not Picard. I didn't hear very good things about Picard, but
is it
Discovery? Discovery, thank you. Yeah, Star Trek Discovery. Supposedly the 3rd season was pretty decent, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't want to subscribe. I'm so sad that I got to subscribe to Paramount to watch this stupid TV show. Like this is going to be another. Yeah, this is going to be another one of those like like Better Call Saul things where I subscribe to AMC Plus for like a month and a half just to watch Better Call Saul, and then I cancel
Yeah.
the thing once it's over.
What people used to do with Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, what I do
Hey,
for
okay.
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, it's I need to find somebody I can bump Paramount off of. I'd love to give the new Treks a try sometime, but I've heard mixed things, especially Picard seems to go
I don't
stray
know.
a little bit from the Star Trek.
Now I can't remember. Do you happen to remember the date that the Halo TV series is starting to?
Oh, I thought
That it's
there it is. I put it in the next article
March
here. I knew I put it in
24th.
here. March.
March 24th.
Okay.
Yeah. Should we do like a reaction video or something?
We
Or like
should.
a watch party sort of a thing, so that we like.
Should we do an episode by episode review?
Yeah, we could. I'm down. I think we should.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let us know on Discord or socials how you feel, if it sounds like something you'd like to.
Like a Campfire reacts kind of a
another episode during the week where you can hear Rich and I bitch about Halo.
Yep, you can hear us bitching about Halo. Speaking about bitching about Halo.
Yeah. Hopefully we see the Halo TV series here next month.
Yeah, I know. So this is going to be this is very interesting. So some news broke what was it, earlier this week, is that Marty O'Donnell and Mike Salvatore are suing Microsoft. Why, you might ask, they are suing? Why are they suing Microsoft, you ask? Well, that is a good question. Is because they have unpaid royalties over the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't a new lawsuit from the sounds of it. This originally got filed back in 2020.
Yeah. So what I was reading here, what I was understanding is back in 99, it's a long time ago for many of us, and some of you might not have been around for that. There was a little studio called Bungie, and they were making a game called Monkey Nuts, which turned out to be Halo. And Marty and Mike, they trademarked their music. By the way, this was before Microsoft acquired them in 2000, and apparently that trademark and that deal that they own their music was still in place even after the purchase. So that's where their argument comes from, is I guess they haven't been getting paid royalties for the last 20 years. And yeah, in 2020, they, I guess, filed a lawsuit. And here we are this week. I don't know if this is them trying to make a big splash and get like kind of the community and people involved or what. I don't know if this is going to even turn into a big deal. But I guess they're really pushing to get this, hopefully some sort of decision soon. And why it relates to the Halo TV series is that if they don't get this a decision and something figured out soon, they're going to be pushing, Marty and Mike are going to be pushing for an injunction on Paramount's upcoming show. So,
yikes.
But again, I don't know. This is one of those things where I don't know if this is just kind of a news that they're trying to make a bigger deal than it is. And Microsoft can just swing their big, $1 trillion dick around and be like, whatever, we're releasing our show anyways, or if this is a legit, like, oh, wow, maybe in a month we won't be watching Halo TV series.
See, I don't know if they'd let it get that far, to be honest. I think the more that the lawyers kind of hash this out, the closer they get to that deadline, I think if they have a pretty reasonable case here, then I think Paramount or Microsoft's lawyers are going to fold. They're going to settle, and they'll just, that's that, right?
Yeah.
If it's coming, I'm sure that the budget for this Halo TV series was rather high, and paying them back paying them royalties for, I mean, granted, that's going to be a lot of money, I would imagine, going back 20 years of royalties.
Yeah.
For something as, famous as the Halo soundtrack. I can imagine that the Paramount one is probably going to edge out a bit more. So I would imagine that they're going to settle.
Which could be good news for Marty, because he's been in some other hot water with legal
troubles.
Yeah. I don't think we talked about it on the podcast, but a couple months ago he had some issues with Bungie. long story short, I thought what he was doing was pretty cool. He was putting up kind of like, how he made it kind of videos of some of the Destiny music on his YouTube, which I think was monetized. Some way he was kind of making money. And through the separation of Bungie and Marty back in 2011, I think it was, 2012, he legally wasn't allowed to, I think, like own or do anything with the Destiny music. So they came after him. So yeah, he's had a lot of legal issues between Bungie and Halo and
Microsoft. And he's fighting the legal battles all over the place.
Yeah. But we'll be sure to report on this as soon as we hear any more news, or maybe this just gets swept under the rug and we'll be producing our little
reaction. Like I said, I think it's just it's probably gonna they're probably gonna settle, or them being either Microsoft or Paramount. I think they're just filing Microsoft, not Paramount, with it. But
yeah, I think it's just they're going to push to stop the Paramount show if there's not some resolution to the lawsuit, just because, as we would assume, there's going to be Halo themes inside the Paramount show.
Yeah, well,
hopefully.
We don't know. Maybe that's why they used Phil Collins for the trailer.
Right.
We can't use the music. It's trademarked, and we don't want to pay them.
And it's such a small thing to bitch about, but that did irk me watching that trailer. I'm like, of all the 20 years of great music that was produced throughout all the Halos, it's one of the things to me that hasn't suffered from the Bungie to Halo switch.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have your preference. You can have your preference. But it's all good. Oh, yeah. Sorry. From Bungie to 343. I mean, I get it. You can have your preference, but it's all been relatively good. So 20 years of that, and they chose, and I love, was it In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins, right? Or is that Genesis? I think it's Genesis. Regardless, it's a great song, but to put that the way they did in that show instead of some other good Halo music, I'm like, what the hell?
Like, come on. Is this really a Halo show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That in the Tahoe, man.
I was going to say, yeah, you're going to get a nice Chevy Tahoe.
Yeah. You know what grinds my gears? In the Air Tonight and Chevy Tahoes.
Why are Chevy Tahoes in my Halo?
Yep.
Did you play the mod?
Don't get me started on save the cheerleader, save the Halo, save the universe.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was funny too.
Sorry, did I get a what?
Oh no, did you play the mod in MCC?
Oh no,
the Silverado or the Tahoe mod.
No, I love it though that the mod community did that. That was so amazing.
This is exactly why you got to have community content, man. That's so good. If you're not going to let us have Forge, at least let us mod the game. We'll make Forge for you.
In short, Faux Hammer on the was it Silent Cartographer, right?
Oh, I thought it was the end of Halo 3. It was the Warthog run on Halo 3.
Okay. There was another one too in Halo C. Yeah, so it was the Warthog run in Halo 3 at the end there with the Tahoe. But there was also Halo CE when Faux Hammer comes in. You're done assaulting the beach.
Oh, right, yeah.
She comes in and drops you a Warthog, but in this case it was a Chevy Tahoe.
Oh my god. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Good times.
All right. Well, we wish Marty and Mike the best of luck. They've made some of the most iconic music in video game history.
Yep.
So I hope they either get paid what they owe, or I don't know. It doesn't sound like it's a frivolous lawsuit. So, I mean, I think that if they have the trademark, they probably should get paid.
Yep. Definitely. If you're a fan of video game music, also go check out the music from Gollum, which I think is what Marty has recently done. And then obviously any of the newer Destiny soundtracks, Mike has his hand in that. They're all really good. So they're still making good music. So check it out.
All right. So we can finally break from Halo stuff, as I'm sure a lot of our listeners are probably tired of us whining and complaining about Halo. I'm not, though. So
we're changing it from the Campfire Gaming podcast to
the Halo whining podcast.
Rich and Matt bitch about Halo podcast.
Yep. It's got a nice ring to it. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
No, I think we need to talk about all sorts of other stuff, like NFTs, the other subject on the on our brains. But thankfully, we're not going too deep into the NFT talk. Really, what we're wanting to talk about here is the fallout from Team 17's NFT. Um, what would you call that? They pulled back their NFTs after community backlash. And really, what we found out shortly after that really was just the tip of the iceberg. It
Yeah.
wasn't that they were kind of just dabbling in NFTs, and they're like, "Oh, you mean that nobody likes this? No way."
Yep.
Well, as it turns out, I think they were very aware that people just did not have a very strong opinion about this move to a Worms NFT metaverse sort of a thing, because internally it sounded like a lot of employees and developers and QA and a lot of people on the inside were not for it.
Hmm.
But it sounded like they were basically being told, don't express that opinion. They were kind of trying to keep that, like, so Team 17, I believe they said that the Team 17 is a publicly traded company and they really want to keep people's opinions close to their chest now. And that's what some developers have stated. So there is a Eurogamer article that just came out a couple of days ago from this recording, and it kind of dives into they were talking with a couple of developers, and they were getting their opinions. They were sharing a lot of this stuff anonymously,
Yep.
mainly because, they basically said that Team 17 said, if you express bad opinions about this, that there will be consequences, and that their job was in jeopardy if they kind of spoke out against something that they weren't super, thrilled about.
Hmm.
So we have a quote here from this article. It says, speaking to Eurogamer under conditions of anonymity to protect their careers, more than a dozen employees have said that they felt let down by Team 17's handling of the announcement, and that the company's refusal to listen to staff concerns has added additional pressure to a workforce already worn thin. And of course, it goes even deeper than that. This article kind of opens up all sorts of cans of worm, all sorts of things that, underpaid QA and people who were afraid to even talk to HR because HR was just going to like gaslight them and tell them, that they're not basically listen to their concerns. I mean, shocker. That's kind of what HR
I
does. But
liked your pun, opening a can of worms.
I didn't even try to do
Yep.
that. I'm that good.
Yep.
All right.
So I mean, yeah, it was kind of like it sounded like there's been issues with not even related to NFT issues to Team 17 for quite a while now. It's just this is kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back type situation and got people speaking out, and now they're, which is good, comfortable to do it. And it sounds
Right.
like over the years, Team 17 has been growing their library and getting more ambitious with their scheduling and releasing of games that has kind of stretched their workforce thin, and we've seen that, and that's a common thing. We've talked about it, and it's been a big issue. I mean, for a while, but kind of getting into the spotlight the last probably I'd say 4 or 5 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really coming under scrutiny from the media and the community in general, which is a good thing because working environments like that are not good for anybody, regardless of what industry you're in.
Right.
So,
And it's such a common industry thing that this is something that needs to be called out at every step of the way so that
mhm,
we can make sure that this actually gets changed, because this is a
yeah,
practice that needs to die.
yeah. And I think the worst part is they kind of continue to push and work these long hours, and it doesn't sound like they're being compensated accordingly. I think that was the one kind of potential. I don't think we ever found out really what. Did we ever talk about Cyberpunk? I know that was one of the things where it was argued like, well, yeah, they're pushing this long hours, this crunch from, I think their initial delay from April to the end of the year, December that year,
Right.
but they were going to be compensated. I don't remember if we ever chatted or if there's any information on how well they were compensated, but like
I don't think
it
that was
almost does.
ever released.
I don't. With this, it doesn't even sound. It sounds like they're doing a bunch of extra work and extra time, but not really getting compensated for it, which is even worse in my opinion. Like, right, um, it's not a good situation. It's not good to do that to your employees. But I mean, I guess you could argue at least you're paying them for it. But I don't know. It's a weird situation.
It is a weird situation. So I mean, yeah, I say if you're listening to this, podcast now, we're not going to dive into this whole thing. I mean, because it's a very long article and there is a lot to unpack here. But really, what we wanted to kind of make aware is that the whole U-turn on the NFT thing really was just the tip of the iceberg, and that there sounds like there is a lot more problems beyond just the NFT things. Granted, I mean, yeah, like we were talking about, this isn't super new in the games industry. We've heard a lot of this stuff from Rockstar, EA,
Hmm.
Activision, Blizzard. They all do it, and it's terrible. So it should always be called out whenever possible. And it's great that the developers are, reaching out to the games press and making their concerns heard and kind of filling us in on what actually goes on behind the scenes at some of these publishers.
Yep. And I don't know about you, but for me, I really hope they kind of leadership over there really figures it out and listens and cleans up all this stuff, because um, Team 17 is the publisher and
Oh,
owner of Hell Let. I'm sorry, they're owner of the IP Hell Let Loose.
right,
So
right.
um, obviously we love that game. So hopefully they get this figured out and can continue to make good games.
Exactly. You need to treat those Hell Let Loose devs right. All right. That game is boss,
Yeah.
and I love it. And I want them to have like a mountain of gold because I have so much fun playing that game.
Yes. God, what if they ported that project to Unreal Engine 5?
I
Kind of
mean,
polished it up all
who says they
sexy.
couldn't?
It'd be nice if they did that.
They might. You never know. They might be. All right. So, speaking of games, let's talk about some more video games. All right, we got lots of stuff to talk about in terms of video games. So that kind of concludes our big news. But I kind of want to go into this new games section, and I want to talk to Matt because you made a wonderful purchase just recently, and I want you to tell everyone about your new buy.
I finally did it. I finally this weekend went out and bought a Nintendo Swole. Finally bought a Switch. It was I'm sure you guys feel like you guilt tripped me into it, because over the weekend you and Mike and some other people on there were just go get a Switch, Matt, go get a Switch. But I think as I mentioned in last week's episode, kind of eyeing it up, and I was finally out
Mm-hmm.
and about. I happened to swing through the game section at the local retailer, and they had one. So,
Which one did you get? You got the OLED
uh,
one, right?
yep, the OLED, and it looks.
Is
Let
it
me tell you
pretty?
that
I don't. I have an
I
original one, so I don't know.
I guess I don't have. We'll have to compare. Maybe next time we hang out or something. Um, but I feel it's very vibrant. That could be a mixture of the game and the screen or what. But no, I'm having fun with it. I've only had it for as of recording 2 days. I only have, I guess, technically 4 games. I have the 3D All Stars pack, so 3 games in there, and then I bought Mario Kart 8. So played a little bit of Mario 64, had a good time there, and got through a couple. What is it? Mario Cups or whatever they're called. 2 or 3 of those in Mario Kart 8. So having a good time. It's a slick little system.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
really cool.
You enjoying the portability of it?
Oh yeah.
It's kind of a. I mean, it's kind of a different world for you because you haven't really been much of a Nintendo guy, like
No,
ever.
this is technically the very first Nintendo system I've bought. I've owned. Late in the game, I owned a 64, but that was given to me, and by that point, honestly, I was into the 360. I was at school, and I didn't have a lot of time to play. I was always focused on playing newer games, so never really hopped on the 64. Now, I mean, when 64 is popular, I obviously played that at a friend's house, but yeah. So that, and I've owned a Game Boy, an OG Game Boy, but this is the first one. This one is the first one I bought myself with my own cash money. But as far as the portability, right now, It's been very simple, but I did crawl into bed last night. Instead of pull out my phone and scroll Reddit, I pulled out my Switch and I started playing some Mario Kart.
That's right, you did.
I was like, this kind of it's kind of nice. Just kind of curl up in bed and play some video
One
games.
of us.
Yeah.
One of us. No, that's good. We're gonna have to. Oh man, see, and Mike was talking about it in Discord not too long ago. He was mentioning that this kind of opens a nice door for potential book clubs
Yeah.
on the Nintendo Switch now.
Yeah.
I like that.
We've got a variety of options.
Right.
I guess the only one is PlayStation because not everybody has a PlayStation.
No. And
Suck at PlayStation.
right, yeah. I mean, I don't think any of us could really buy one even if we tried right now.
Yep. Oh, PlayStation 5. I mean,
Yeah, PlayStation 5. I'm not going to go buy a PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to have to keep checking in on Matt and his Nintendo Switch adventures.
Yep.
We're going to have to see what you think about, like, I'm sure at some point you'll probably pick up, Breath of the Wild or
I think probably play through some of the Mario stuff here I got and either borrow or pick up. Honestly, I've been leaning. I know it's not the new hotness. Well, I think it's newer, but it's an old game. I was tossing around picking up Link's Awakening.
Ooh.
That happens to be a game I've played before, but on the OG Game Boy. So
yeah, that's
it'd
a
be
classic.
fun to play it in the new, sexy, colorful goodness.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's just such a great game anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to try out the Nintendo Online service? So
I think I will.
Not really streaming, but yeah.
I think I'll do the online service. What was it? I've already forgotten the expansion pass. I might subscribe to that for a year. Not in a hurry to do so though. Right now,
You can get all the Mario Kart tracks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could play some Genesis games. I mean, that's honestly what I should have done. Bought the Switch, subscribed to that, and just played Sega games. Genesis games.
Yeah, you could. And there's a couple of N64 games on there that'd be fun to play. I think Winback is on there. That's always fun.
Yeah. Could play some Star Fox multiplayer, right?
There you go. No, that would be fun as hell.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you are enjoying your Switch and that you have joined the club.
Yep.
So now we can all sit around the campfire and play our Nintendos together.
Yeah, ignore each other and play. Well, now we can get Advanced Wars because you said we should play that.
Dude, you should. Like, I think, yeah, if you're waiting for kind of like something to purchase, that would be great. And I think me and Mike are gonna go to town on that game. It'll be so great. All right. So in other games news, we got to talk about it. It won't be an episode unless we mention it at least once, but we got to talk about some games that are coming to Game Pass. There we go. All right. So Madden NFL 22 is going to be available February 17th. Total War Warhammer 3, February 17th as well. And Alice Madness Returns will be available February 28th.
Yep. There's a good 8 or 10 games coming, but these were kind of the real highlights, I'd say.
Yep, those are kind of the big ads. And these are all going to be 2 of those are going to be available via EA Play. So you got to make sure that I think you have to have a certain Game Pass subscription to be able to access those.
Ultimate.
Yeah. Yep, Game Pass Ultimate to be able to get access to those. So just Game Pass will not be enough. Yep. And then Warhammer Total War Warhammer 3 is only available on the PC. So if you're an expert, you're out of luck on that one.
It's kind of big. I was a little surprised between Mass Effect last month and Madden this month. They're putting their heavy hitters onto EA Play, and then in turn we get it if you're an Ultimate subscriber. But
correct. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you've never played Alice Madness Returns, it's been a while, but I really enjoyed that game. Probably good, 10, 12 years ago, whenever it released. So
I've never played it.
Seeing that coming to PC, I'll have to look. Maybe that might be a little too long for a book club game. I'll have to check it out, but that'd be kind of fun.
We're gonna need something for March.
Yeah, but it's a good time.
All right,
check it out.
Sweet. In other news, we got a Capcom has tweeted out a 7-day countdown on their website. What it is for, we don't know. It's just they have a countdown now. So if you
Yeah.
go to see if I can remember the website here. If you go to, let's see here. What
Yeah,
was the
there's a
URL for that? It is capcom-games.com/countdown.
What do you think it is?
Got me. I don't know.
I
People speculate Street Fighter of
I
some
I
kind.
s- I
Could
was
be
reading
a
somebody saying, "Oh, it looks like the same font as Resident Evil." So, DLC maybe?
either, yeah. I mean, I do think that they have DLC planned for Resident Evil 8, so it could be a reveal for some DLC. The Resident Evil 4 remake could be an announcement for that. So
Mhm.
we don't know. We don't know. I don't know. Do you know? I don't know.
Let me go give Capcom a call. I'll let you know.
Yeah, because yeah, the Resident Evil 4 remake is supposed to be announced soon. So, and I mean, 5 days is soon from the time of recording this. By
Yep.
the time you listen to this, it'll be, like a day or something like that.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's the Resident Evil 4 remake uh rumors of it being announced soon have kind of been heating up. I know I saw one or two in the last month or so, but recently there was a little more information where um the remake is now I haven't played, so you'll maybe will add a little more context, but is potentially going more towards like darker horror theme, kind of like classic Resident Evil 1 through 3, I believe,
Okay.
instead of more action oriented. Um,
That would make me super happy because that was my biggest gripe about Resident Evil 4 is it really started to divert away from sort of the survival horror formula.
yep,
I mean, arguably you could say that Resident Evil 3 started that trend and Resident Evil 4 took that a big leap to the next level,
yeah,
essentially. Um, and they kind of showed that a little bit in the Resident Evil 3 remake as well. That was definitely not nearly as good as the Resident Evil 2 remake. So yeah, I mean, if that's true, I would be super stoked about that. That would be sick.
yeah,
Because I mean, a lot of people love Resident Evil 4, so don't get me wrong. Like, it's not a bad game. I'm just not that big of a fan of it. It wasn't
yeah,
my cup of tea.
yeah. No, I need to. I keep saying it. I think I'll do it maybe this weekend. I got my Switch now. I don't know. I keep saying I'm gonna start my Resident Evil playthrough. So the sooner the remake comes out, the sooner I can just get through 1 through 4. Right. So
Yep, yep, you can.
yeah.
Are you gonna go do 5 and 6?
I think I'm gonna aim for
Don't do
1 through
5 and yeah.
4.
Don't
One
do
through
5 and 6.
1 through 4 grow. Seem to always be the ones that are like everybody loves, and those are the good
Yes.
ones.
Have you
Although
finished one?
no, I started it before the holidays, which I knew was a bad idea, and then I stopped because it was the holidays. I just need to get back. I'll restart it, but I know there was talks of me maybe streaming it, so keep an eye on our socials for that. Maybe I'll do that, and you guys can laugh at how terrible I am at the game. So
Dude, you should stream it. Yeah, you definitely should. I would watch it.
yeah,
Um yeah, so I hope that it is I mean, I would be totally down for a Resident Evil announcement. Street Fighter announcement could also be cool. I haven't had a Street Fighter game since it's been a while. Street Fighter 4 came out in I don't know what year that was. It
do you
wasn't
know
recent.
does Capcom have they switched to releasing a lot of times on Fridays, or are they still kind of mainly the Tuesday people?
I think they still do Tuesdays. I can't remember when Resident Evil Village came out, to be honest with you.
Because I know when they tweeted the
Might actually,
countdown,
yeah, it might have been a Friday release.
I was thinking about this as I was reading the notes. When they tweeted about the countdown, it was a 6 days, 24 hours. And I'm wondering if that's not only a 7-day countdown, but also 6/24, but that's a Friday. So
Mm,
I don't know. Or maybe it's June 2024. Or maybe
June
I'm
2024.
or maybe I'm just reading into it and it's just a 7-day countdown.
All right, so Resident Evil Village was released on a Friday. So I can probably assume that, yeah, this is kind of a Friday thing. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's just going to be an announcement, not necessarily a release date.
Maybe. Well, what I'm saying is maybe that tweet that just showed the picture of it was both announcing a countdown and the release date of whatever they're counting down
Oh,
to June 24th. It's like a
that's
double whammy.
sneaky. Yeah, that's sneaky. So you're thinking it's June 24th?
Yep. So whatever they're announcing on Monday is coming out on June 24th. You heard it here
He called
first.
it. Called it.
I hope I'm right. That'd be so sick.
You know what I hope is right? These
What?
this next rumor about a remake, another remake coming. That is for GoldenEye 007. Supposedly, people have been talking about, like, I think there's been achievements and gamer score and all that that's been dropped, and it kind of relates to a GoldenEye 007 remaster. So originally
Yep.
released on the Nintendo 64. We talked about it briefly, I think sometime last year, about how Rare had planned, or not Rare. Well, it was a mixture of Rare and Nintendo. Were trying to work with Microsoft to get that released to the Xbox 360. But that kind of fell through, and then eventually the GoldenEye 007 community kind of found that and picked it up, and then they were able to play the Xbox 360 version of it, and that got leaked out. So
Yeah. No, it seemed to be a lot of licensing issues because not only is it a game that was released on Nintendo from a studio that now belongs to Microsoft, from an IP that's owned by, is it MGM?
MGM, yep.
So it's just a licensing nightmare. But yeah, it was just, this was, like you said, this was supposed to come out 360, so that era ended roughly 2013. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. No, I hope this is real. And if it is, I hope it lives. I haven't played GoldenEye in
Long
a
time.
very long ass time, so
Yeah.
hopefully it lives
Make
up
it
to it.
make it twin stick ready, and get
Yep.
online multiplayer for it. Get some, get some some 4-player multiplayer action going. That'll bring back some good memories and some,
Yeah.
you know,
It'll be
hatred.
interesting. It'll be interesting to, if this is true, which we've seen so many rumors of it. So to me, it feels like it's a real thing. It's just a matter of when are they going to announce it and release it.
Uh-huh.
But like, are they going to make a lot of changes to kind of bring it up to par with modern stuff so it feels good, or are they going to try to keep it classic? And obviously, you're going to still have your twin sticks,
Right.
or you hope. Who knows?
I sure
Maybe they
hope
just
that they don't use the
maybe they
controls of the time. Yeah.
yeah, but they
I don't
sell
have
the
C buttons anymore. What am I gonna do?
use your D-pad, man. You got to
Oh
use
God.
your right joystick and the C buttons, or the D-pad for the C buttons. So
Oh
yeah, no, it'll
man.
be interesting. I hope whatever it is, it's fun because man, that was some good times. In what was that? Is that the 90s, late night, like 99?
No, it was like 97, I think it released. If you want to double
Oh,
check
nine
my
double.
want to
Yeah, I'm pulling it up here.
fact check me on that one.
97. Yeah.
Yeah. I just watched a YouTube documentary about it, so that's how I knew it was
Yep.
97.
I still need to watch it too.
Oh
Got a
dude, it was
bookmark
so,
here.
yeah, that was such a good documentary.
I talking about good documentaries. I got through the, what is it, Power On, the Xbox story. It was pretty good too.
Oh
So
yeah. I haven't watched that yet.
it was very good. It's crazy how the OG Xbox, the 360, and as we all saw, the Xbox One really had a lot of problems leading up to and launching. So like that OG Xbox, the fact that landed and functioned and was a good console is crazy. Listening to those,
Yeah.
I think it's the first 2.5 episodes. They talk a lot about it. It was just like, man, they came in hot on that thing. So
Yeah.
but
Well, before I'm gonna make sure to shout out that GoldenEye,
yeah,
that GoldenEye documentary. So, YouTuber Ona Retro Tip, ONARETROTIP, the making of GoldenEye 007 and 64 documentary. Definitely watch that. There's interviews of the developers from the game, and yeah, that was just an insane. Like that was such a good documentary. I loved watching every minute of it, and it was just such a it sounded like such a fun development process.
Mm-hmm.
Like they got to go visit like the set of the movie while they were filming it and find a bunch of stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's move on. I can stop gushing about GoldenEye and how much it means to me. So we also have a little bit of information about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge game. Master Splinter is going to be in the game, so that's pretty cool. It's not out yet. It'll be releasing. I don't remember what the date was with it, but I know that it's going to be sometime this summer, I think.
It was later this year is what I found, because I was like, oh yeah, when is this coming out? Because this game looks awesome.
Yes, this is that classic like 2D
Yeah.
beat 'em up side scroller. Oh,
Yeah,
like the arcade Ninja Turtle games.
Mm-hmm. It looks so good, and I can't wait to get it. But yeah, it's coming to PC, PlayStation, Switch, and Xbox later this year. Is all I found. Yeah, no, What do we got? We got obviously the Turtles. They announced April, I think, towards the end of last year. Now Master Splinter.
Yep.
So all I could think of maybe some other people are that they might be missing is Casey Jones. So hopefully, maybe he'll be the last one they announce as a playable character along with the release date of the game. So
all right. So what console are you gonna get it for?
I don't know. I guess it depends on where everybody else.
Get it for the Switch. You could get it for the PC. Yeah. The options are endless now.
I'm gonna get it for PlayStation because I really want to play this with friends, and that's obviously where everybody's at. Every one of my friends at. That's not to have a PlayStation. That's all my friends that don't have one.
Right, so. Right. Which is the vast majority of us, I think.
Yeah.
All right. So, good news for Cyberpunk fans. You got a new patch. Congratulations, patch 1.5 is now out, including but not limited to new weapons, additional apartments, hairdressing mirror, rebalance of the gameplay, economy and loot system, improved crowd reactions and driving, completely reworked perk trees. Wow, that one was a hard one to say. Tons of other quests and gameplay fixes, and the next-gen versions released for the PS5 and Xbox Series X. It adds performance mode and Matt's favorite, ray tracing mode.
Yeah. I don't remember. Did you play this game?
No.
Or was your wife that played this?
That was
when it came out.
Yep, it was my wife that played when the game originally had come out. I don't know if she has finished it. I was not on the hype train for this game because it was another one of those I didn't see enough gameplay to make me want to try this.
Yeah. Mine was, I was hoping I could get a 3000 series graphics card, which is probably not, I mean, I didn't try really hard, but it was a little tough the last few years and kind of now. But then it came out and it was a train wreck. And then I did buy it in December for the Xbox for $10 because it was super cheap. Or was that October? I don't know. I bought it late last year when it was on sale for $10. So I didn't play it yet. I bought it just saying I want to play this when it looks real nice. And since I won't be upgrading my PC probably anytime soon, I was like, well, I'll get it for $10. They'll release the next gen version like they just did. And then maybe I'll give it a go. So, we're already in February, and I have too many games to play. Cyberpunk, Resident Evil, and all the Switch games that I want to play.
Yeah, you got a brand new Switch now to play with, too.
So, but no, this is exciting. I didn't get to watch the stream.
I did not either.
I turned it on for like a minute or two. I was in the middle of work. Hopefully nobody I work with is listening, but it was only for a minute or two. But they showed a little bit of the improved crowd reaction and driving, which I guess I remember seeing, things on the, forums, internet videos of just how bad the crowd stuff is. Like when you're shooting or killing somebody, they just kind of crouch down where they're at. Here it was like the little bit I saw, the dude shot somebody in the middle of the street and some people pulled out guns and tried shooting back. Others just ran away. And, so I don't know if this is kind of brings it up to where it should have been when it launched, but it feels like a
Step in the
more
right direction.
significant improvement.
Right. I mean, of all the things that I would not be that impressed by, crowd reactions would probably be one of them. I mean, like, that's an immersive thing, and which is kind of cool, but what does
Well,
that ultimately do for the game?
I think there was a lot of issues with, because it was supposed to be this big living city and futuristic and all that, and the immersion aspect of like crowds and vehicles and AI and I think there was an issue which I imagine would be fixed here. Maybe it was part of it. Was like some of the like cop stuff, like cop AI when they spawn in or something like that. And it's just like, I mean, to me, if you're trying to build this futuristic and next gen, living city, a lot of that stuff does matter. It does seem silly, but a lot, to me, a lot of that matters. And if you're just like, to me, it reminds like of some of the older kind of open world games when you do something a little crazy and there's not a lot of that immersion there. Just that was more the times we lived in, the technology they had to use. I can remember playing some of those like open world games. You try to run somebody over and everybody just dies. What game was that? Was that Midnight Club? I think it was. It was a racing game.
I liked it in Grand Theft Auto 3 when you were driving on the sidewalk and people would dive into the car.
Yeah.
That was
That's
funny.
where Halo Infinite got that from, for the fobs in the campaign side, the Marines diving under it. But yeah. So I mean, I think this is good, and I have no basis other than the rage on the internet of people that hated the games and put up the bugs. But I'm hopeful that maybe this is a step in the right direction, and maybe at some point this year I'll get around to playing it. So,
hey, let me know how it is. I still have very little interest in Cyberpunk. All right. In other news, so good news for everybody who is a Call of Duty fan. If this Microsoft Activision Blizzard purchase continues to go through, Microsoft still plans to honor the I guess you could say the cross-platformness of Call of Duty. They are not going to be holding Call of Duty to their own and making it a console or making it a platform exclusive or anything like that. They've made a commitment to Sony so that Sony will still get Call of Duty. I think that isn't there a rumor that Call of Duty might get released on the Nintendo Switch? I don't remember if that was proved to be true or not.
Yeah, it looks like they even say it here in the little quote I have, or they're looking to potentially support the Switch, or sorry, Nintendo, which I assume is the Switch.
Right. Okay.
So, but yeah, I mean, this is big. I mean, we already knew they were going to honor the whatever agreements were already in place.
Yes, but and extending beyond that, right?
Yeah.
We thought that they might get the ZeniMax Bethesda treatment, where like we will still release like expansions for Elder Scrolls Online, and the commitments that have already been made to these consoles will still be made. But Starfield is gonna not be.
Yep.
Or actually, I think isn't I gotta double check that one, but
it's exclusive.
Starfield is exclusive. Okay.
Yep. The new Elder Scrolls 6 and Starfield are exclusive to PC and Xbox. So
okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
And I'm so after I was reading about this, and after we talked about how, as you would assume, the FTC is going to be looking into this acquisition, I'm wondering if some of this decision, Microsoft is going to make their money either way. I mean, there's really no harm in them supporting, especially for studios that have been doing it already, supporting all those systems. But I'm wondering if after with the process of the regulators looking into this and trying to decide if it's going to go through, is if this is kind of some of the Microsoft lawyer tactics where they're softening the blow by saying, hey, look, we're not trying to lock this to, we're not a monopoly, or this isn't going to create a monopoly. And this is going to, by them saying, hey, we're going to leave this huge franchise multi-platform, if they're hoping that'll help sway any potential issues with the Trade Commission in their direction, in Microsoft's favor. So that's a theory. I don't know enough about, all of that. I'm more versed in bird law than this monopoly, trade law, or whatever it is. But
bird law.
hey, Rich, have you ever watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Oh no,
You should. It's really good.
No, I have not. I have not yet watched that show, Matt. I have not watched it.
Yes, bird law.
All right. So, in other Call of Duty news, we're just gonna move on here. Another Call of Duty news. So there has been a confirmation that a new Call of Duty is going to be released for fall, and that it should be a sequel to 2019's Modern Warfare.
What? A new Call of Duty this year?
No way. Yep. It is. Well, yeah, and it is a sequel to Modern Warfare. I'm gonna guess they're gonna call it Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, bummer.
That would be my guess. But it's not just that. It is also going to be new Warzone. So in a blog post, in a community update blog post, it was stated that they are going to be making this, much rumored sequel into to Modern Warfare. They're going to be building this game with a brand new engine, and then they're giving Warzone a successor. So they're going to be rebuilding Call of Duty Warzone, which is hugely, hugely popular. So look out for that in the coming months. And then season 2 of Call of Duty Vanguard Warzone starts on February 14th.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And the other big news, I know I threw my little joke in here, but they're supposedly using a new engine for all of this. So
right. Yep.
I'm curious. I know it was a big talk of, we talk about Unreal Engine 5. I know we talked about the Slip Space engine with Halo Infinite. I can't remember what they call it in Call of Duty, but I'm curious, this is what I'm always curious about. Typically, traditionally, companies that have their own engines don't literally build new engines from the ground up. They just refactor so much of it or replace so many parts of it, rendering or the audio engines or something like that, that it's enough for them for marketing, can say this is a new engine. So I'm curious if this is another one of those type situations, or if
they got to do some actual greenfield development on on a new engine, or they're utilizing an existing one,
or like Unreal.
Well, no, they said they were building it from the ground up, didn't they? That's what I think. That's literally what they just said. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'd be curious, but yeah. No, I'll say from that aspect of the announcement, I'm curious. I'll have to maybe do a little more digging and see what they're using.
Yeah, it says it'll be built from the ground up. So no Unreal Engine, no, they're not going to make Call of Duty in Unity.
Ah, bummer.
I know you're disappointed.
Game Maker.
So we'll see. Yep, Game Maker. There's a possibility of a new Midnight Club. I don't know the last time I've played Midnight Club, but it's been a very long time. Take-Two said that they have sequels to many of their beloved franchises in development.
Mm-hmm.
And there are visual concepts as a job opening for an unannounced open-world driving game with a major license. I wonder what that could be.
Yep. I'm obviously with any of these old franchises that come back that I really liked, you're always hopeful, especially if it's not Rockstar making it. You're hopeful it's going to be good, but man, I really only played Midnight Club at a friend's house. I owned 2, and unfortunately 3 came out during my school years where I didn't play a lot of video games. But I love Midnight Club 2. I mean, Midnight Club 1 was fun as well. But so I'm hopeful that this is a thing. It's been a while since I've done a driving game, which is a big reason why I bought Mario Kart. I was like, what the hell?
You needed to do a racer? You need a racing game?
Good kart racer in here. So
there you go.
But yeah, I'm really hopeful that this is what they're making and that it'll turn out to be good.
Cool. Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, it's been a long time since I played Midnight Club. I don't really know. I've kind of forgotten about it because it's been so long. So
I don't think it was the first, but I think it was one of those big games at the time that had, we're going to use the term open world.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
It was a racing game in the sense of or what they did was instead of it being like just tracks and
Yeah.
you load it in a track, it was what was cool about Midnight City was at least two, since I played a lot of that, was you had three cities. I believe it was like San Francisco, Paris, and Tokyo or something like that, right? But like they were larger cities. They were mapped after the real locations, supposedly. Um, and you would just drive up to other racers and like flick your lights, and a race would start in the city, and you could just drive around wherever. It was really cool for the time. A lot of that doesn't seem too exciting now, but was that 2003, 4? That was a big deal.
Uh, yeah, that was a lot. Yeah. Probably around 2004. Sounds right.
I don't know what was the first one, but I'll throw, I think, the first race open world racing game I played, Midtown Madness.
I've never played that.
Oh, that was one of the early. I think it was Microsoft that did that. Midtown Madness and Midtown Madness 2. There was a third one, but I don't know if I ever played that one. But
Gotcha.
yeah, good times.
Good times. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is still not done.
I liked your pause. You probably got a lot of people excited.
Right. Yeah. Unfortunately, it is still not complete. It is a very much anticipated sequel. I have not played it personally, but I have close friends who played it and they loved it. So
Yeah.
I know that they're probably really excited about that as well. It's stuck in development hell. It's been in development for so long at this point that it's just, even now, what we've heard is that Beyond Good and Evil 2, according to Ubisoft, is basically still in pre-production.
It's just
I remember
insane.
it was like, yeah, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago. They were doing some sort of like this was like the last big media that I remember for Beyond Good and Evil 2, is that they had something going on where like if you were like an artist, you could submit a bunch of artwork that could be like pasted on a bunch of buildings and stuff like that in the game. Like that's where they were at the time. Yeah, that game.
That was
Which do you think is going to come out first, Beyond Good and Evil 2 or Star Citizen?
Oh, I thought you were going to go not Black Flag. Skull and Bones.
Yeah,
their other game Ubisoft has in.
Nope.
Well, I mean, at least Star Citizen is out there. Whether your whole finish,
you can play it. Yeah,
we've seen it. You can play it. The fact that it's so insane. I get games can get stuck in development hell, and things can change, get canceled, trashed. And I mean, that was before Doom 2016 came out. They were working on a Doom, I think it was Codename 4 or something like that for a while, and they trashed that completely and just then built Doom 2016. I think there was things with Halo Infinite. There was early versions that were kind of trashed and then built what we have today. So the fact that this is 14 years since this was first, and who knows how long it was, whatever, I'm going to say, obviously in development is not the right word, but this was first teased in 2008. So you'd think at least maybe 6 months to a year. And so 2007 is maybe when they started work on it. Again, what level of work, who knows? But the fact that we're in 2022
and it's still not like we don't even have anything to see.
Yeah.
There's nothing to see, or at least the last time that we saw anything was from E3, like
2017. That's
5
when we
years
had
ago. Yeah, almost 5 years ago.
That almost
I think that was
No
when they
Man's
had that
Sky
promotion
type demo.
Yeah, right.
And it was, it's, I don't know, man. Like, I've heard nothing but good things from people of Beyond Good and Evil, the original one. Again, it's kind of on that long list of games that I want to play at some point.
Right.
We should look how long that one is. Maybe a book club.
Yeah, that could be a good book club game.
But yeah, I mean, it's just when things like this happen, it's just like, what happened? I mean, between like this and again.
I'm sure there's going to be a Schreier article about that at some point.
Yeah.
At least I would hope so. I mean, yeah, like I'm always interested. See, that's the kind of stuff, like it's fun to listen to those stories, like those behind the scenes stories, like Xbox, for example, where it was a very successful outcome in the end. But I would love to hear some more of these behind the scenes stories of these games that have been stuck in development hell.
Yeah.
Like I think we got a little bit of that when Duke Nukem Forever came out. And we know, I mean, we all know what a train wreck that ended up being and all the like
Hmm.
bureaucracy that went into making that game. But it's interesting to know like all the different pitfalls that the developers ended up running into while they were trying to get this thing out the door.
Yeah.
I would love to know more about it.
Somebody, I think it was on the Discord a few weeks back. It was another one of those I recently only got around to watching. Um, Jade Empire 2. There was one of those kind of documentaries online of somebody that had, I forget what role he was, but he had worked on the game and he kind of went through kind of a maybe a post-mortem. I don't know if that's right. Like, but he talked about kind of some of the iterations and the issues and the problems they dealt with and the changes to the game. But yeah, it's always interesting. Those, you know, those Jason Schreier articles are usually a little spicy because of like the really bad stuff that happens. But there's plenty of games where it's interesting to hear, you know, like Jade Empire, what happened, and ultimately what happened was they put that one they put that on the back burner to work on. I believe it was Mass Effect 2. So it was like they got so far and iterated and all this stuff. And they were ready to, I think, enter active development, and then the BioWare was like, "Nah, man, let's do Mass Effect 2." But yeah, it's always interesting to hear about that stuff and really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. No, I think it would be really fun to get some behind the scenes looks on that just to
Mhm.
I mean, it's the same thing for Halo too. Like Halo would be another great example of like, what really was it that, like the 5 years, what did that all 5 6 years, what did that all go into before
Yeah.
we got well, what we have now and what is not technically done yet, but
And it's what's interesting is it's always just a wide variety of outcomes, from canceled or never entering production type stuff
or
to
just yeah,
train wrecks to examples like Halo 2. Halo 2 was one that they pretty much scrapped the majority of the game after the E3 2003 demo, was
right.
it? 2?
Yeah, no, I think there was
Um and they
there's
cuz they had to go back and they argued to have an extra year of development because they knew they were not going to be able to hit the deadline. They bit
right.
off more than they could chew.
Yeah, I mean, even and yeah, like you said, or to go along with that, they talked about how behind the scenes with Halo 2's release, they ended up cutting like what, like a whole 2/3 of the game that they had planned, you
It
know,
was the final act. I mean, that's kind of where
or like the
th-
last third of the game. Yeah,
yeah, that was kind of what they used that to build Halo 3. Is
right,
like that start to build Halo 3, and it's where the kind of the tagline, finish the fight, type line and stuff came in. But yeah, no, it's not always a bad outcome. But yeah, it's always just interesting. I love
right,
listening to those type of things, watching those type of documentaries.
right.
Um,
And speaking of other games that I think would be interesting to hear the development story on this one, we now have reports that Dead Island 2 is could release pretty soon here. That's another game that was announced a long time ago, and we have heard very little about it. So
yep,
um,
heard very little about it that is good.
that too, that too.
Yeah, no, this is another game that was announced, that I put in here. Yeah, well, I didn't
eight
put the
years
year,
ago,
8 years ago.
yep,
So what's that, 2014?
something
Um,
like that. Wasn't too long
and
after Dead Island came out. I think I don't
yeah,
remember when it came out though. It's like 2011 or something.
it was like 2011, 2010, something like that. Yeah. Um, but no, this bounced around. Again, this was kind of one of those unique stories where it's on its third developer. Currently, Dam Buster Studios is working on it. If I remember, Dam Busters did Crackdown 3. Um, they I think it was the second studio it was with for a while. They were actually using. Don't quote me on this. It's been a while since I've read up on this. I think they were funneling some money that was supposed to go in development of Dead Island 2 into another game that they were, because the studio, I think it was called Jaeger Studio, and they ended up crashing and burning after um, after was it Deep Silver moved it from Jaeger to Dam Buster. So Um, yeah, no, it's crazy, but yeah, according to Tom Henderson, it's in good shape and could release soon. I want to get excited because I really like Dead Island, but I'm a little worried in today's world that
Yeah,
it's going to be a little more action focused instead of crafting and atmospheric, or if it is crafting,
I don't
very
know.
crafting focused, it's going to be a little more over the top. I mean, granted, I
It
mean the
could be.
weapons
I
and you,
mean, yeah, like because I mean, crafting and survival games are still kind of hitting right now. You know,
yeah,
we had Grounded come out. We have things like Conan Exiles and Rust is popping off, and we have a place for survival games. It's just the whole zombie thing. I think is just kind of done to death. Really, no pun
yeah,
intended.
um, yeah. No, it's yeah. I hope it's good. I think the other thing I'd be a little worried about is if the gaming community, already, like you said, kind of beating zombies to death. Um, but if the zombie community would be okay with a very melee focused game, because that was, I think, another one of the cool things about the original Dead Island. It was pretty much, you had weapons, you got weapons in the second area of this city, but those are pretty much useless against zombies. They were good for shooting like explosive things that might be around zombies and other humans that were in the game. And I thought it was just kind of fun because whatever your version of zombies are, they're typically kind of like bullets, but they don't, who cares if you're shooting them in the body, right?
Hmm.
You got to dismember them or pop them in the brain. That's, everybody knows that's how you kill zombies. So,
Right. Exactly.
so I thought it was pretty cool, but yeah, we'll
Hopefully
see
this
what
one makes it
happens.
out. Yeah, I mean, supposedly that they're going to be they're expecting it to release quarter 4 of this year or early 2023. So
Hmm.
it could it's finally seeing the finish line on that one. So if you're excited for Dead Island 2, I think I mean probably through E3 this year we'll probably see something.
Yeah.
That could be cool. All right. So on to the last thing that we have for you all tonight. Platinum Games, or Platinum Inc. Well, Platinum Games Inc. is open to being acquired. So they've been essentially commenting about this whole, this Microsoft Activision buyout has been stirring up a lot of buzz, and it's been getting a lot of people talking about the idea of acquisitions and how studios and publishers and things like that feel about the whole acquisition. And apparently Platinum Games is actually pretty on board with it, though they're not that interested in um, Microsoft, is what they previously stated. They do like the idea um, that Activision Blizzard will probably have a very free style of, like, a free form of letting Activision Blizzard develop their things. It's not, Microsoft isn't interested in going in micromanaging, and that's a big concern of Platinum Games, basically. So
Hmm.
I don't know. What are your thoughts? I mean, do you think they're going to flip their stance? I mean, they're clearly open to being acquired,
Yeah.
which is what they say in this article. But do you think that they are going to flip their opinion and maybe be on board with being purchased by Microsoft? Or do you think that they're going to look to something like Nintendo, or probably not Nintendo, but like maybe PlayStation or something?
PlayStation, yeah. I mean, less like EA or Ubisoft hop in the game and start acquiring stuff. Um, I think I think they maybe saw the Bungie acquisition. It was like, hey, we kind of like that deal. I wonder if, and then maybe that's where these comments came from with the CEO of Platinum Games. It's like they really want that kind of independence, but
Right.
would probably really love the cash flow.
Oh,
You know,
absolutely. Like, we've talked about this pretty endlessly about how it was able to, that cash flow was able to get Psychonauts 2 out the door.
yeah. So I mean, it was kind of it'd be interesting if they. I know they aren't super interested in Microsoft, but like if that did happen, it'd be crazy if between that and what we talked about in the last episode with Scalebound, um, you know, it would just, yeah, it'd be interesting. But I mean, they could go the other way with them talking about wanting to do live service games. I mean, that's exactly what Sony just said they want to do, which is why they acquired Bungie. Is like,
Right.
so it could definitely go either way. I'm sure Microsoft is open to live service games too, but no, it'll be interesting. But I'm wondering if he's just kind of. I wonder if there's talks going, or if this is his way of kind of letting the industry know, hey, like you said, we're open to acquisition, but we want to be independent. Just give us your money
Right.
and leave us alone. We'll put games on your system. So
Right. Though I think it would be very, yeah, I think it would be very odd, because I think one of the biggest things that is going to be a problem with Microsoft trying to acquire a studio like this is just, there's just a really big cultural difference between something
mhm.
like Microsoft and a Japanese, and a large Japanese company.
Yeah,
That's why I think that Sony sounds like it would be probably the more appropriate company if they were to get bought out by somebody. It would definitely be Sony.
yeah, it makes sense. But I mean, you know, Microsoft has been trying to get into Japan for. That's why
The Sega thing would be,
the
yeah, it's just
Sega
so
thing
hard.
was the big rumor there for a while. I guess it could still be true. I mean, who knows? But Microsoft has traditionally struggled in those markets, and they're always looking for opportunities. So I think that was supposed to be why they were working with Platinum to do Scalebound to kind of
Yeah.
get something else out there,
Yeah.
But yeah, it would make more sense with Sony. Realistically, though, I'm going to go back to one of those things where I hope every studio or publisher, smaller publisher, they are able to get the funds and make the games they want. But I'd be fine if they just stayed independent. Like
Exactly.
I'm already burned out on all this acquisition crap.
Oh,
Okay, let's
agreed.
stop now.
Yeah, I mean, we were already kind of concerned that the gobbling up of every independent studio on the planet, it could be concerning. So I mean,
Yeah,
I'm fine with studios just staying indie. There's nothing
yeah,
wrong with being indie. I think with how many platforms there are to release your games on, I don't think it's ever been a better time to be indie.
yeah.
And that is that.
Yep.
So good luck to Platinum Games. I hope you figure that out. All right. Well, that is all that we have for you tonight. Do you have anything to close this out with, Matt, before we put this fire to bed?
No, man. Maybe hop on Discord and send me some Switch game suggestions
Or tweet at us.
or tweet.
Yep. If you got a Switch
Yeah.
suggestion for Matt, be sure to tweet at Camp Game Pod and let us know what your favorite Nintendo Switch game is that Matt should be playing right now.
Yep.
While you are at it, be sure to join our Discord and join, because we have a book club coming up next week. We will be talking about the Stanley Parable and the Beginner's Guide. It's going to be a double feature book club. It's going to be very exciting, and we need suggestions of what book club to do for March and April and May and the rest of the year. So if you would like to propose a suggestion for a game that we totally should be playing, be sure to do that. Jump on our Discord and talk with us. So with that, we're going to close it out for the evening. It's been a good one. Thank you for talking with me, Matt. And thank you all, dear listeners, for joining us for this entire episode. And we'll see you next time around the campfire.